I'm very happy today to invite a very special guest from Italy. So, Mr. Elia, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Annette. My pleasure being here. My name is Elia, and I'm from Italy. I'm a professional singer and actor, fine artist, and home chef.
Exactly. I met him because his special cooking. Mr. Elia considered himself very healthy. But after the health program, within 2 months, he lost almost 10 kg. Would you explain why you thought you're very healthy before?
Well, I think the misconception was doing all the wrong things, which is skipping meals and eat not necessarily frugally in the wrong time, and probably not the right things. But since I never really had major health problems, touch wood, I thought I was doing okay, without realizing that apparently it was not.
So after we talked, so Mr. Elliot changed a lot about his lifestyle. Can you give some examples?
Well, for instance, I embrace a different lifestyle completely, which is trying to be a little bit more aware of what should be eaten, what should be consumed, and when it should be consumed, and in which amounts. And I was surprised at first to see that it's not depriving yourself of food that's going to help, but switching from healthier foods or ingredients that your body requires more, rather than just eat because you're hungry or eat because you like something particularly. On the other end, trying to combine what I am still learning with what I already know, which is make things taste better or looking appealing at least. And if you can understand that very simple equation, then things are going to be smoother.
So before meeting us, Elliot will have skipped many meals, maybe only 1 meal per day, either lunch or big dinner. And then 0 water. He told me he didn't want to drink water because he drank beer instead.
Correct.
And then very little of fruit and vegetable. And then his sleep quality is not that good. Energy wise is not that high, and then also hard to fall into sleep. That's before we do the health change program. So after 2 months, can you tell us the difference?
Well, all the points you have illustrated, they are overall quite resolved, which means that the quality of my sleep has improved. Energy wise, I feel much more energized right away when I wake up in the morning. And I don't feel completely wore out before going to sleep, which is also a great thing, because you don't want to go to bed exhausted. You still want to enjoy the rest. And another very important part is, as soon as you start feeling healthier and also feeling lighter because of the weight loss, everything else almost comes easier. Right? So physical activity, you're much more incentivized to stay this way, or to improve, of course. Always look up.
What about your best interests of life, like drinking, cigar, smoking, and also coffee? Tell me before and after.
Well, I did not completely quit those things that I like, because I knew that by quitting completely things that make me happy would have been great, because I would feel probably upset at first. So what I did is I progressively diminished the amount of alcohol, diminished the amount of tobacco. Well, I think the key for me was to diminish things progressively rather than just quit right away. Because I know quitting things that you like, it's always a bit upsetting. So as I said, I did it progressively at first, and then almost like a magic, like a charm, once the body starts to adapt to a healthier lifestyle, you can't keep up. So almost automatically the amount of alcohol will shrink, the amount of tobacco will shrink. Often enough, the two things are related to one another. And so is for coffee. Because when you're more energetic, you don't need as much caffeine.
Exactly.
And that was a huge relief.
So you've cut your espresso to 0 now?
Pretty much, yeah. Which is hard for an Italian, as you can see.
Exactly. Before it's 2 to 3 cups per day, huh? So very important for audience to know, Elia, as a Westerner, right? Usually, nutrition supplement is it in your university training or in your common sense you need to take?
Well, I can speak for myself at least. I would say no. I was not brought up with the idea or the concept of having a daily supplement intake. Maybe because overall the Mediterranean diet we have in Italy is quite healthy. But it's also true that keeping up a Mediterranean diet in Hong Kong or abroad is not easy.
Exactly.
So eventually it's good to keep an open mind and to embrace a different lifestyle, or at least whatever it takes to be healthier and to improve the quality of life, to possibly extend the longevity. Why not, you know?
So this is the reason that you accepted my suggestion the first time we met?
Absolutely. I've never been really concerned aesthetically wise, as much as I became very concerned knowing that what I was doing was wrong and it could be fixed within, at first, simple adjustments. And my best advice is to give it a try and see, because the results are here.
So basically for the first month, Elliot is trying at least 2 to 3 times protein powder, and also Q10 3 to 4
That's right.
times, and then per time it's around maybe 3 to 4 pills.
Yes.
And then 2
Yes.
to 3 times a day, and then also with other basic supplements.
Correct.
At the first time, I remember he said he have to swallow the pill one by one.
Yes.
And now how many progression?
Well, now it can go. They could all go down in chunks of 8 or 9.
Ho ho. Okay. So what can you tell now the difference after taking the supplements and having the good or right lifestyle?
Well, for sure, the appetite has diminished. So you feel more satisfied with the amount of food that you have daily, within a very reasonable portion, and you feel happy with it. You don't feel like you're depriving yourself of food. You're starving all the time, and while you're actually having good food that you know is good for you, and you're not gonna store them on your belly, but instead they're gonna make you look slender, slimmer, which is, I think, it's a sweet plus. And this is just one of the multiple advantages that I've noticed. And as I said, you're energized. You don't feel you have to rely on other substances much, such as caffeine or alcohol. And overall, I think it just gives you a much more positive approach. You feel happier when you're healthier. That is something that I'm glad I realized at some point.
I know that your wife is very happy with 2 improvements. One is your lean muscle. You have more lean muscle to hug her now.
Right.
And then the second thing is your temper seems much better and mellower.
Well, I can't say, but I'm glad to hear.
So what's the last advice or suggestion to our audience from your experience?
My advice is, do not look down on the possibility of improving your life. There's always a margin of improvements, and often enough the improvements do not require you to become someone else. Just be a better self.
Very good. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.